Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Samantha Winona. This is Winona Reads. I have 3 big announcements today, and I already filmed part of this and I forgot the third one, so here I am refilming this again. First big announcement, I am coming out with collection number 3 of my poetry. It will be hopefully released on April 1st. That is like the tentative date. I once again have Lucia from Lavender Logos helping me, which I could not do the cover art without her. She has been like a saving grace. I don't know how I would have done any of this without her. So once again, Luch, thank you for helping me. And yeah, I am super excited. I just want to say thank you also to everyone who has purchased the first 2 collections, who has given me feedback. It really does mean a lot to me. There have been quite a number of people that have, reached out and, told me which ones they connect with. And not only does it give insight to the fact that, like, in certain things, I feel like people may think that they're alone, and something as vulnerable as poetry kind of shows that, like, depending on which one hits, like, you're not alone. Somebody else has also experienced something like this. And so to hear someone specifically point out, like, this one really hit, or this one brought me to tears, like, stuff like that really does mean a lot to me. And I'm first of all grateful that anyone has even taken the time to read my stuff, but also grateful for so far a very good response and feedback. And I haven't been met yet with any criticism or judgment. Judgment, I think, is a big one. Criticism I'm okay with, but judgment, I haven't been hit with it. And to put something out so vulnerably, and to put it out to not just like people who know me or family or friends, but like to release it, like, it can be bought around the world since it is on Amazon. That, like, is the scary part. But having such good feedback and such good comfort in your responses, it just means a lot to me. So thank you. And I hope you like the next one. I just got chills. It does play into the other ones that I have already put out, and they are linked down below if you guys are interested. They are available on Kindle Unlimited currently, and paperback as well on Amazon. Yeah, tentative date for 1, and I will keep you guys posted. But thank you once again. And announcement number 2 is I started a book club again. I did start one a couple of years ago with just a couple close friends, and we met at like a local, little wine bar and had some snacks and like kind of just chit-chatted, but it never really went anywhere. And I think I also spent too much time like worrying about if it would be a book that other people would like. And so this time what I am doing is I am opening it to everybody. So there's more information on my Instagram, Winona Reads, and I'll leave that written down here somewhere. You can follow me on there as well. But it is called We Read, and I am picking 2. The last couple have been like more recent released books, but I am picking 2 books per month, and I give a detailed, read this book for the first half, this book for the second half of the month, and then I will post on here as well as Instagram discussion questions and kind of summarize and have a whole video wrap up about it. I have the March picks here. I did post February, but because I posted it a little late, it was kind of just an announcement, like, this is what I'm going to be reading this month, and if you want to join or talk about it, you can. But March is going to be like the kind of like release of officially starting it, if that makes sense. I will go ahead and show you the ones in just a minute that I picked for March. But my third, and not really announcement, but I also wanted to post a mini book haul, because last weekend we did go to the cutest bookstore and bar cafe shop called Rough Draft. I've seen it a few people on Instagram that I follow, I've seen them go there, and I'd always wanted to go there. And so we were like, you know what, we have nothing planned, let's just go. And it was decent weather, so they had, you know, the coziest little section for the kids and just books everywhere. We stayed, we had a beer, the kids had sparkly donuts, they had like sandwiches, they had like table space, they had high tops, low tops, they had a couch. We kind of like switched all over the place, and anytime something would open up, we would be like, okay, let's move over there. So we started at like a high top and then went to a table for them to eat their donuts, and then we went to like the couch. It was super cozy. We went out to eat after by a place by the water. It was just the nicest way to spend a Saturday. I wish it was closer, and I wish that not that it wasn't as busy. I'm all for small business. I just wish it wasn't as like jam-packed at times, because I would love to like post up for a minute there and actually read something, like just the way the sun was coming through the windows, and like it just had that vibe. But because it was so busy and like full of people, it kind of, you know, obviously got a little noisy, but it was the cutest place. So I'll post pictures of that as well. I did get a couple books from there. I got a couple new releases for the book club, so this is just going to be a chaotic video. I hope you're ready. So first up, so the February picks were Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I picked this up this week after I finished another book, and I finished that book at like 7 o'clock, and then I immediately started this, and I was like, I'm just gonna, you know, start it and then I'll have the weekend. No, that night I read like 100 pages, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I need to pick it up because I keep thinking about it, and I'll probably pick it up when we're going somewhere later. So for the drive, I'll definitely bring this with me. But like, I did not want to put it down, and I had to go to bed. I had to. But this is so good. I love the writing style. I did tell a couple of my friends over on Instagram that the writing style does remind me of Lessons in Chemistry by, I can't think of her last name, Bonnie something, but the way that it envelops you and how much you're invested so fast in the characters reminds me of that. Highly recommend, highly. This is like, what is it, 400? Yeah, 400 pages. So I'm a quarter of the way through, but I'm obsessed with it and I cannot wait to finish it. And then the next is The Things We Do to Friends by Heather Darwent. That was the second book club pick. It was a book that I recently hauled. And so Tomorrow goes through a relationship between Sam and Sadie. So they meet when they're younger in a hospital, and then it goes through, something happens in the relationship with their young, but they bump into each other, and they are in the same area as far as college, but not the same school, so the bumping into each other is definitely random. But from there, a different connection kind of starts. Not necessarily romantic, more of just friends. And I'm assuming it's going to turn into something romantic, but as of right now, they have a little bit of like flashbacks going on and a little bit of like, you know, family setting, upbringing. It's just so good. It's so hard to explain without giving too much away. So I will definitely, obviously, post this in my wrap up for February. But they are developing a game together, like a video game, and their connection is just so like heartwarming, and like just reading it, like I feel like there's like a half smile, like I'm just sitting there so cozy. I don't know. She is such a good storyteller. So that's what that one is about. And then The Things We Do to Our Friends, I honestly don't remember what dragged me to this one, so I'm just gonna read the cover page, or cover flap. It says, how much is an extraordinary life worth if others have to pay? She's an outsider desperate to belong, but the cost of entry might be her darkest secret. In this intoxicating debut of literary suspense about a clique of dangerously ambitious students. But I think the mystery element to it is what invited me to purchase. And this is on the shorter side. It's a little less than 300 pages. A little over 300 pages. But yeah, a new release, and interested to see. Oh, it has a new book smell. I just closed that. That's amazing. Alright, I will go through the other purchases that I made, and then I will end with the March book club picks because those are also recent purchases that I purchased this week. How many times am I going to say purchase? I don't know. Alright, so these are from Rough Draft in Kingston. This is Ernest Hemingway's In Our Time stories. I have purchased this once before off of Amazon, and even though I did not purchase it used, borrowed, it was supposed to be brand new. It had marks all over, the pages were dented. I was like, cool, I'm sending this back. And I didn't even bother getting a new one. So when I saw this there, it was the only copy, and I was like, okay. Also, that's a thing too. I don't think they have multiple copies. Like, if you see books lined up, like, they're just lined up. Like, there's not, it's not like Barnes & Noble where there's like 5 copies of something, and for some reason I liked that. The only like area part that I did see multiple copies were like the newer releases, but the stuff on the shelves, there wasn't multiple copies, and I don't know. I just liked that because then it made it like choosing feel more special, kind of. Anyway, so these are just shorter stories. They kind of go through, this was published in 1925, so this is still his normal tropes. War, love, travel. So what's not to like, you know? And the cover. I tend to like these vintage classics. So the next one is How Not to Drown in a Glass of Water by Angie Cruz. Sarah Romero thought she would work at a factory of little lamps for the rest of her life, but when in her mid-50s she loses her job by the Great Recession, she is forced back into the job market for the first time in decades. Set up with a job counselor, she narrates the story of her life. Over 12 sessions, she recounts her tempestuous love affairs, alternately biting and loving relationships with her neighbor and her sister, her struggles with debt, gentrification, and loss. I don't know why I cannot speak today. And what really happened with her estranged son, Fernando. This was recommended by a couple of people over on Instagram. It's less than 200 pages. I really want to pick this up next month. But the next one is a Penguin classic, Edith Wharton's Ethan Frome. And I'd actually never heard of this, but I do love her writing. I read, that was aggressive. I read Custom of the Country back in college, and I loved that, so I did want to give this a try. This is a classic novel of despair, forbidden emotions, and sexual undercurrents set in the austere New England countryside. Ethan finds himself obsessed with a woman and the possibilities for happiness she comes to present. It is one of the most intense narratives. Wharton moves this ill-starred trio toward their tragic destiny. So it's another love triangle, but just a rather short little story. And I honestly had never heard of it, which is why I picked it up. Like, I feel like the other ones are very highly praised and highly talked about. The one after that is All Day is a Long Time by David Sanchez. And for me, this was a cover buy at first. Until, well, I mean, I saw the side of it and I thought it looked cool. And then I obviously pulled it out and saw it. But this got to me because of the synopsis on the back. So it said, David has a mind that never stops running. He reads Dante and Moby Dick. He sings in a Hemingway and battles with Milton. But on Florida's Gulf Coast, one can slip into deep water unconsciously. At the age of 14, he runs away from home to pursue a girl. On his journey, he discovers crack cocaine. He's hooked instantly. Over the course of the next decade, he fights his way out of jail and rehab, trying to make sense of the world around him, a sunken world where faith in anything is a privilege. He makes his way to a tenuous sobriety, but it isn't until he takes a literature class at a community college that something ignites within him. Like, is this a little bit of an autobiography? I don't want to assume. It's just weird that his name is David and the character's name is David. But anyway, this kind of called out to me not only for, you know, the big names on the back that he sinks into, but the relationship with drugs and rehab and all that stuff. Because I did just read a memoir, literally actually on the way to the bookstore, that had to do with you know, overdosing and the strains that it puts on a family and what happens after. So for some reason, this just a yes. It looks really good, so we'll see. I actually haven't even looked it up on Goodreads, so I don't even know what it would be rated. And the next one is Just Kids by Patti Smith. I feel like so many people have read this, and at first I saw a on the table of new releases, I walked by and I saw a book by her. It was 366 days of Polaroids. She would take one every day, and then there was like a description on like what it was and like kind of the feel for it, and I really, really wanted that. I'll probably end up getting that on Amazon actually. This one called out to me because so many people have read it. It's on so many people's like most notable books, and for some reason like just notable books have been calling out to me a little bit more. Like there's times where I go through like fiction and, you know, then fantasy or children's books. Like there's usually a vibe that I'm in, and that's just what I gravitate towards. I'm definitely a mood reader. But like lately, the ones that have been calling out to me are the ones that have been just notable books, like something that like there's a piece of it or a lot of it that continues with you after you read it. It's not something that like, you know, you read it and you have a good time and you're like, oh, that was good, and then you forget some of the details, like if that makes any sense. It says, it was the summer Coltrane died, the summer of love and riots, and the summer when a chance encounter in Brooklyn led two people on a path of art, devotion, and initiation. Patti Smith would evolve as a poet and performer. Robert would direct his highly provocative style towards photography. Bound in innocence and youth, oh my god, I almost said euthanism. Enthusiasm, they traversed the city from Coney Island to 42nd Street in 1969 and set up camp at the infamous Hotel Chelsea. That just called out to me. And then the next two are the March picks for We Read Book Club. So these are new releases. They both came out on Valentine's Day. We went to Barnes & Noble the day after Valentine's Day and picked up the new releases. So this one is Stone Cold Fox by Rachel Kohlercroft. And I just love the new covers coming out too. I mean, so good. Like an enterprising woman, Bee knows what she's worth, and it is determined to get all she deserves. It just so happens that what she deserves is to marry rich, filthy rich. After years of forced instruction by her mother in the art of swindling men, sorry, I don't know why I'm stuttering. In the art of swindling men, a now solo bee wants nothing more than to close and lock the door on that sordid partnership so she can disappear safely into old money domesticity, sealing the final phase of her escape. When she chooses her ultimate target in a fully loaded and blue-blooded call-in case, she's ready to deploy all of her tricks one last time. But this was set in the thriller section, so I'm interested to see what that means, because I was looking all over for it. I was looking in like the new releases, and it wasn't in the new releases, and then I was like wandering around the store, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna look in one last spot, and then I'm just gonna call it quits and order it. And I found it in like the thriller mystery section. But honestly, cover buy for me. And then just the idea of like the old money, new money with a little bit of swindling, like just sounds super interesting. And it came out right after Valentine's Day, so I'm like, just, I don't know, I wanna know. And then the last one is My Last Innocent Year by Daisy Albert Florin. Says 1998, and Isabel Rosen is the only daughter of a Lower East Side appetizing store owner, has one semester left at Wilder College, a prestigious school in New Hampshire. Desperate to shed her working class roots and still mourning the death of her mother 4 years earlier, Isabel has always felt like an outsider at Wilder, but believes she's finally found her place until a non-consensual sexual encounter with one of the other Jewish students on campus leaves her reeling. So Isabel discovers that the line between youth and adulthood is less defined than she thought. The cover kind of gave me, what was that book I read? My Dark Vanessa. I don't think it's a similar like thing, but for some reason the cover kind of gave me that same vibe of like I don't know, just the way it's like a dark cover, messy and muted and not 100% clear, which I think coming of age stories, that's the intent. So I am excited for those. Those are the March picks, and then I will come back on and do a discussion and summarize those. And yeah, I also wanted to do my March jar picks now, since I'm doing all of this at once. And now that I am also incorporating the book club picks into my TBRs every month, it just feels like kind of a lot. But I did want to update. So the first month my jar picks were Wuthering Heights, I remember that. And then The Paris Architect and Skin of the Sea, I think. I tried Skin of the Sea. Sorry, my camera just stopped. I don't understand why it does that. It tells me I'm talking for too long. But the Skin of the Sea, The Paris Architect, and Wuthering Heights were all 3 of my January picks. Now, I'm still working my way through Wuthering Heights. That's going to be, you know, something that I pick up here and there. That's going to take a while. For some reason, I'm just not getting into it. But I did try the other 2, and I just wasn't in the mood, and I was kind of bummed out because I'm like, you know what? This is supposed to be something that's getting these books off my shelves, and it's just a little frustrating, and I got, I don't know, just weird about it. So I put them down. I wasn't forcing myself into them. I tried The Skin of the Sea on audio, and I have the physical copy, and I still just wasn't getting into it. It is a YA, so I feel maybe that I'm just not in the mood for it as a mood reader. And there was so much diversity in my picks, which is why I don't understand. I also did try The Paris Architect, and that is normally something I gravitate towards, but to be honest, I have not been in a historical fiction aspect at all lately. Yeah, so I am still working my way through one, but the other 2 just didn't have it for me in that moment. And then February was The Girl from the Savoy, which I read about 30 pages, and once again, I'm just like, this just isn't hitting it for me. And I went to Audible to get the audiobook, and the voices, I was like, I cannot listen to this narrator. This is, nope. So I think I will pick it up at another time. It is like, the concept is something that does interest me, so I feel like, and I know I love her writing, so I don't know what the deal is. I just think I'm not in like a historical fiction mood right now, and that's fine. But it is a bummer for the books that I pick. But, and then I picked Trick Mirror, Reflections on Self-Delusion, and nailed it. 5 stars. I'll have it in my February wrap up, but oh my gosh, that was a good book. I did listen to it on audiobook and followed along in the book because I had just started doing the audiobook and like had it in when I was cleaning, and I was like, there's some really good points here that I really want to tag in the book or like outline, underline, whatever. So then I went back through, I started it over, had my headphones in with the book and just started tagging, and it was just flowing so easily that I just kept listening to it like that. And there's so much that I tagged in the book. It was such a good book. I recommend it to anybody. And then the other one that I picked for February was Swan Song. Ugh. I am so interested in the concept. I love Truman Capote. I don't know, just the character. It's like high society. It talks about like influential people, people with money and their drinks and their, you know, he is traveling and just confessing stuff and like being like a huge gossip. He's such a good writer. I love his personality. I think he's so interesting and I want to know more, but the writing is so dry. I'm like almost 100 pages in and I just can't pick it up, and it's like bumming me out. But I am not done with this. I am not done. I am going to continue reading it. I just have other things that have been like faster for me that I've like flown through since the first page, and so this is still on my nightstand. I'm not giving up. I will finish it. It's just taking me longer. So this and Wuthering Heights are like my 2 lingerers from January and February. But time for March, so let's mix it up a little bit. I think I'm still gonna pick 3 just because that's who I am. It's my lucky number. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, I'm excited for this one. See, Mayflies. I've been wanting to get to that. Ooh, this is gonna be a good month. This is gonna be a good month. I'm excited for that. It's also so hard to pick just one because like with my nails and they all stick together. Okay, okay. So this is Henna Artist by Alki Joshi. I haven't read any of them, so it does say 1 through 3 on that, and I don't think I'll be able to get through all of them. However, I did want to pick up her new release. I don't think it's out yet, the 3rd one. I think it is coming out shortly. I could be wrong. But I will absolutely add the 1st one to this month. I'm not going to add any more. I do have books 1 and 2. I don't want to add both just because this is going to be a lot of books and I don't want to put that much pressure on myself. But that I am excited for. I am excited for. Okay. The last one is drumroll. Oh, another good one. Ingenue. This is another recent. You see it? This is another recent purchase. Okay, let's go find these. Alright, Mayflies is right here out in front. I'm so excited for that one. Okay, and then Ingenue is also right here out in front. And I don't remember what I did with the other ones. This might take a second, so let's see. Are they behind here? No, they used to be down here, but then I moved everything. So oh, here they are. Wow, this is dangerous, huh? A little bit. A little bit. Okay, so we have book club picks for March, jar picks for March. We have book club pick for February, which I am already reading. Other book club pick for February. Not bad. And then I'm also in an audiobook. Oh, and then can't forget Swan Song, because, you know, she in there. Ooh, she in there. So, is it doable? Is it doable? I think it's doable if I get a couple on audiobook, on Audible or the library. I think it's doable. We're gonna work with it, guys. I want to say again, thank you to everyone who has been supporting me. I would also like to recommend, if you're interested in joining the book club or just seeing more content and more videos, if you can please subscribe to my channel. It does mean a lot to me. A lot of the analytics that I've looked at are a lot of people that come from my book hauls or wrap-ups, but aren't subscribing. So if you can please subscribe, it would mean a lot, and that way you stay, what's the word I'm looking for? You're notified. That's what I mean to say. But yeah. Stay tuned for so much fun stuff. This was chaotic but exciting. I am excited for March's reads. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to my channel. I will have everything linked down below as far as book club information. I will link my poetry collections and all of that good stuff. Keep reading, and I will see you soon. Bye.